Hey Scott, how you doing? So Coach Brandon here, and we're going to go ahead and go cover some of the videos that you sent me, and I definitely want to go over some movement principles and kind of touch up on how to not go into extension, flexion, just some areas that we can improve on here. So first off, let's look at the first one on the docket. So your sumo right now. I've already seen all these videos, so I'll just kind of describe what I see, and then we can watch it together. With the sumo, you'll notice one of the best coaching tools that someone can use, or a coach can use, is if the first rep in the deadlift has a ton of forward motion, a lot of wasted motion, a lot of wasted energy, which with heavier loads would destroy someone, and you won't be able to get it off that first third of the movement point. But with lighter loads, you can usually kind of manhandle it and get through it. But when somebody has a lot of forward motion, that's going to be the biggest limiting factor when you get the heavier load. So that's always because someone has issues with building tension or dropping their hips too low, which is an issue with building tension. And as we'll see in this video, a really good coaching tool is looking at the second rep. The second rep will, if it's a lot cleaner, a lot faster, it doesn't have that forward motion, most of the time as someone ascends down, their body mechanics actually takes care of everything. And on the second rep, their hips go to where they should be on the first rep. With the first rep, you think about so many, building tension principles, you end up sinking your hips too far, forward motion, and then we come up. So we'll go ahead and see that in this video here. So hips go just a little bit too low, as you can see here. They're like almost 90 degrees, almost like the legal squat position. And you'll notice that they're the first thing to rise, and then your chest and shoulders go forward. Just like that. That little motion there, though it doesn't look like much, is going to be detrimental and your biggest limiting factor when we get the heavier load. Now we look at the second rep, your hips start a lot higher and no forward motion. So realistically, what we need to do is on this first rep, they need to be as high as they were on the second rep. So first rep, they drop down to low, forward motion. And second rep, they start high, one solid motion up. So what we got to do is we got to synchronize our body to where we're building tension on that first rep with the same hip position that we did on the second rep. If we can replicate that in the first rep, it's going to make your lift far more efficient and your one rep max go up by like 50 pounds just by a slight movement change, no real strength gain. So it's going to be it's an easy fix, but at the same time, it's not. You just got to be dialed in, getting side angle videos of every single lift in the next few weeks, kind of calling yourself out on it in between reps and making sure you're getting to that point with your hips when you build tension on the first rep every single time. It's going to be extremely beneficial, real easy fix. You just got to be consistent with it. Looking at the next video here. And I don't want to cover bench because these videos have a little bit of a limit here, and your bench looks really nice. I don't have much to cover on it. Now you'll notice with the conventional, the biggest thing I notice is the same thing with the sumo. We kind of have a pattern here. We can benefit at building tension a little bit better because with the conventional, same exact thing. The kind of biggest fault you have right now is just the forward motion created by not building tension quite as well as we otherwise could. Forward motion, then back. Now, with the conventional, I don't think it's as much as your hips getting too low. I think it's more so we're just not taking enough tension out of the bar. That's really, really common. If we don't take enough tension out of the bar, again, forward motion is likely to take place. That was a little bit better. That actually looked to be your best one. That actually had a little more tension built. So basically, we just got to have a lot of intent and just try to create tension to the same capacity every single rep with the conventional and really try to limit that forward motion on conventional and sumo. Sumo, easy fix though. Let's just really try to, one, maybe build a little more tension, but two, let's get our hips a lot higher on that first rep. Now looking at the next video here. All right, so with the squat, before we get into it, I don't like our current elbow position. We need to fix that. Oftentimes when someone has a lot of extension flexion or troubles controlling their lumbar portion of their spine as they squat, it's oftentimes because of where they hold their elbows. And if we have our elbows way the heck out here when we go to squat, this encourages just terrible position with our spine and just not so good mechanics in our squat throughout it. And on top of that, it puts a lot of tension on our elbow, our wrist, just everything in this shoulder girdle here. So what we really got to do is go from here doing some tissue work, adding external rotation movement, doing a few movement drills, starting here, going from starting here to starting here. And that way we can also utilize our lats better. Our lats are a spinal stabilizer. We can't properly contract them out here because the way that we use our lats in squat is very similar to a lat pull down. And you can't do a lat pull down from this position here. So again, we've got to clean some of the stuff up in here, do some tissue work, some external rotation work, and increase our mobility. And that alone will be a huge help to both efficiency and reduce risk of injury. Now you'll notice that as we ascend the squat, the elbow position is contributing to the extension, but at the same time, it's not the sole issue. So you'll notice here that there's a bit of a chest breath. Look at our chest, look at our diaphragm. Oops, my bad. That was just about all chest there. So when we passively lengthen our abdominals in a chest breath, that encourages a lot of extension issues that you'll notice. A lot of individuals will even do this, like will even go to extension as they breathe because it's so much comes from the chest. So one of the things we got to focus on is just going from this breathing here to this breathing here. That's how we got to set our brace, because passively lengthening our abdominals in a chest breath is just not a good way to start our squat. It's going to mitigate our ability to brace and encourage poor lumbar spine mechanics. So we just got to really focus on that deep diaphragmatic breath right before we squat. And that alone, even though it seems like a little thing, is a huge effect on the efficiency of our squat. Now that is the motion that is kind of making our squat less efficient there. It's just from here to there. This, we are initiating extension at the very top of our squat. Now this, we're in extension here, and then as you can see throughout, it gets worse, then it goes into a bunch of flexion on the bottom, we lose tension. So there's a drill that I want you to start doing. It's a fairly simple drill. I'm going to try my best to do it here, but I can also just send you a video out on the workout floor, but I'll kind of do my best here. There's a lot of content on it online. You'll see it, like I think FMS has a test on it even. It's just a classic hip hinge drill. I like to perform it with shoulder rock, but you can also perform it with just some PVC pipe. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, get nice and upright. We're going to grab it. We're going to grab it, double overhand grip around us, and we're going to have 3 points of contact. So I'm going to bend over a little bit here. My head, back of my head's touching, the middle of my shoulder blades is touching, and the top of my glutes are touching. All 3 points of contact. Now what I'm going to focus on doing is as I squat, I'm going to properly hinge, keeping all 3 points of contact, and then squat down. Now, the second we go into extension within this position here, we lose our middle point of contact. So if you can keep all 3 points of contact as you do this hip hinge drill, this encourages proper position, proper joint centration, and reduced lumbar extension flexion if you do it properly right before you squat. So I really like this drill. Just add it to your warm-up. Anywhere from 8 to 10 reps, nice and slow. I would probably do it before you even get under the barbell, and then also possibly one more set in between workup sets as you get to your working load for the day. That's a really good drill to reinforce proper hinging mechanics, but realistically, the biggest thing we're lacking is just folding in our upper proportion. A lot of individuals, as they ascend in the hold of a squat, the biggest reason they go into extension is because our upper body is not wanting to actually hinge down. We're trying to keep our upper body really upright. If we try to keep our upper body upright and we have to sit back, what ends up happening is extension. And the second we do that, we lose our brace, we lose our ability to control our spine under load. We have a lot of energy leaks, which is not good for the efficiency of our squat. So what we need to do, the only way to mitigate this or reduce it or make it go away is actually hinge with our upper body. Our upper body has to go with our lower if we want to hinge properly. But the second we try to keep our upper body too upright, that's when we have extension. And that's when we have all those issues downstream when we lose tension. So for you, it's just going to be hinging properly with your upper body, really thinking about pushing those hips back, your chest coming with it, and doing that hinging drill right beforehand. It's going to be extremely beneficial. So for the squat, and that's the biggest thing I want to focus on, the biggest things I want us to work on is better elbow position, going from here to here with tissue work, with some movement drills, better elbow position. 2 is going to be diaphragmatic breathing to set up your brace. And that's very important. That's likely one of the most important of 3, if not the. And third is going to be better hinging mechanics as we ascend in the whole squat. I also think it's going to be a good idea to incorporate a lot of tempo work. So I went ahead, working sets next week is going to include a lot of tempo work, 4-count eccentric, 1-count pause on the bottom, but really just going as slow as possible, reducing the load a little bit, and just focus on all the things that we're talking about now, because realistically, this is the time to eliminate it before our meet. If we can get it eliminated right now, going into the meet, that alone will cause such a huge strength benefit. So I really want to focus on it in the coming week or two. I think we have one more video to look at here. All right, so with the row, one of the biggest issues that people have with the row is they try to do it too upright. So that's a good looking row. One of the biggest issues I notice with people when they actually do a chainsaw is they go from here to here, way too upright, just terrible mechanics, and you're doing a good job of putting it in your back pocket real nicely. But the one thing I want to adjust is we're going like this right now. We're staying upright. We're holding ourselves with just our body being upright. What I want you to do is actually grab something in front of you. It should be a little bit more of a hinge. So I'm going from here doing it to grabbing something, bending over more. Oops. Bending over more and then rowing like so. This will help us to add load because of you're a lot stronger than somebody that would row a 35-pound dumbbell, but if we stay upright and don't grab anything, it makes it really harder to do heavier loads. And I'd actually expect you to be closer to a 55 to 75-pound dumbbell. I know you can do it, and actually grabbing something in front of you and hinging more is going to help you help encourage you to do heavier loads with that. So realistically, the actual pattern of the row, though, gorgeous, nothing to mess with there. Let's just go ahead and hinge a little bit more, grab something in front of you, and possibly increase the load a little bit. I think that's just about it for things I want to touch up on this week. I know we got a call in about 8 minutes, but I would love for you to watch this video before we get on the call. That way we have something to talk about beforehand. So I'll go ahead and let you go, and I'll call you soon.